I tend to paint a lot of landscapes, so mood becomes very important to me, and that's often dictated by light, but very much by temperature as well. So let's take a look at two colors I have here. I've got Winsor Green yellow shade. So this is a phthalocyanine green, but as the name says, it's yellow shade, so it moves towards a warmer yellowish green. And then over here we've got Winsor Green blue shade. Also a phthalocyanine color, but it moves more blue. In mass tone, they don't look a lot different, a color just straight from the tube, but let's create a wash. And first we do that with yellow shade. And we pull that down. And then we'll do the same thing over here with blue shade. Definitely a different feel right off the bat. I can really sense, when you start to do this is interesting because to me, color is always relative. When you first do this, I could notice more yellow in there, but when I lay out the blue shade, now I really see the difference between the two. I really see that. So let's see how that plays out when I start to mix other colors with it. I can imagine here mixing in a blue and really getting an aqua green, but we're gonna use Winsor Lemon. So Winsor Lemon up into the Winsor Green yellow shade. So it's making a very, very yellow-green color. With the deeper blue shade, do the same thing. And yeah, as you can imagine, it's a deeper blue there. So that blue is exerting more power over that green, so it's not quite as bright as this. Still a beautiful color, but just not quite as bright. And for me, where this comes into play, there's a little study in my sketchbook. It's my house in the background, and I've got a wood pile back here. And so I really need to make sure that I'm thinking about temperature. So when I am working in the shadows up here, I've got a very, very blue-green. So I have to think about that color bias. Then down here, I've got a much more yellow-green, so much so that you can almost read it as yellow on its own. And that really starts to set the mood. So that's something that I really have always talked to my students about is go in your studio, wherever that is, and have a play with your colors. We often think, and I do this to myself, I put a lot of pressure on myself when I say I'm going into the studio. It's about making artwork, about making paintings, but sometimes I think it's a really good idea to just take the colors on your palette, play with those mixes, mix colors you wouldn't normally mix together, mix the ratios in different ratios than you normally use, and see how that affects the mood, see how that affects the tone, and pay attention to color bias. And I think that'll really help you in the next paintings that you work on and the next moods that you try to set within those paintings.